mean, they'll come by, make the appointment, look at the system, and then they never get around to giving me a damn quote. Like,
So you living with no hot water?
Check, test, test,
yeah, we have a pool house. So we have to
testing. Oh, yeah.
Did you do alternative HVAC? They're one of the approved people. I think they're middle of the road, whatever, but they did our heat pump and our heat pump water heater.
So
And
you
they-
have both of them because that's kind of it's kind of, I have a choice of doing it that way if I want AC, because my system's so complex. So I have a choice of doing that with hot water heater. Because my hot water heater right now has my hot water and it also controls my heat. To heat exchangers. So there's no heat pump that can really handle all of that with exception. So there's two chiller companies, Chiltrix and no, three, Space Pack and Samco Harvest. And
Sanco,
that could do, Samco can't, it's not big enough to be able to handle that kind of load, but the other two could do it and provide me with big AC. But then if I just want a heat pump, then it would only be able to handle the hot water and maybe my radiant, that would be a small part of the house. But even there, they're like, well, we recommend that you just, ditch your radiant.
because I think that
Hi, Brandy.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you just speak a little bit more? Because I want to set the volume.
Sure. Did anyone go to the concert? How was the concert?
Yeah, I don't know how to, actually, it's interesting. I don't know how to set the volume on the,
I don't know if you're able to. It might be in the back.
yeah.
I
Okay.
can hear you fine on the Zoom, but
Okay. You're a little bit loud, but,
oh, I'll turn my. Sorry, I'll turn it.
no, it's okay.
Is
Just,
that better?
No.
Okay.
no, but, I guess, yeah, I don't know what we do about it. So,
I'll speak more softly. I don't know if
Oh.
I've been accused of that before.
yeah, it's really tuned up, turned up.
And now I can't hear you that well. Anyway.
Okay, well, we haven't started yet. We still don't have a quorum, so we're -1 for the quorum.
Okay.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we're gonna start. We'll do roll call first. Anita is away, Loverine Taylor is away, and Ronnie,
here,
Rebecca, Jay, and I'm Scott, I'm here, and Leslie is not with us yet. But we do have a quorum of 4, so we'll start. And I'll try to keep an eye out for anybody else participating so we can make sure we fold in their comments and questions. Okay, so oral communications. Do any of us or anybody or Brandy have anything to talk about that is not on the agenda? That would be no. So we'll proceed through introductions and presentations, of which we have none, and go to approval of minutes, the minutes for July 20th. Are there any suggested corrections or additions to the minutes?
I saw one typo. It said library county instead of library card.
Oh, okay. Is that something, Rebecca, that you
Not
could
significant.
fix? It said library what count?
Yeah, it says library, San Mateo County Library County instead of library card.
Oh, okay.
Well, in the current thing, it's at the bottom of the page. Three.
I would just remind everybody that we need to have the microphones much closer to our mouths than what we're currently doing.
Oh, okay. I have it. I found it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, any other corrections or additions? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as modified?
I so move.
I second that.
All those in favor of approving the minutes as modified?
Aye.
Rebecca, I assume that includes you.
Aye.
All right, we've unanimously approved the minutes. Moving on, so we're to old business and updates from Brandy. So Brandy, we missed you and glad you're back and love to hear your updates.
Thank you. So I will start with the smart water meter program, and I know Rebecca emailed about.
Sorry. Could you like maybe move back away from your microphone or something?
Oh, sorry, I don't know how to.
I don't know what we
Right.
can do here on our end, but it's really loud, so.
Okay, let me see. Is it still very loud if I speak softly?
A little better.
It's
Less
okay.
shocking to the system.
Okay, I don't know what to do. I'm just like on my normal. Let me see.
You can speak like that. What is that ASMT thing? What is that where you speak ASMR? Where you speak
Yeah.
very slow.
Oh, I can't. Maybe if I. Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
I feel like it's okay.
Look for a volume adjustment for 1 second.
There's nothing on the control.
No, there wouldn't be. It would be in the back closet, but I feel like you guys shouldn't.
Actually,
Adjust it.
it's fine now.
Yeah, it's
Isn't it
okay.
fine?
All right, so let's proceed. You sound fine now.
Okay, I did adjust my output volume on my.
Oh, that helped. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. So starting with the smart water meter program, I met with Cal Water on, I think, Tuesday morning to get an update on where they're at, and they are making great progress with installing the meters despite having continuing sort of issues with keeping folks hired. But they wanted me to let you know that the pilot program encompasses Los Trincos as well as the town of Portola Valley, and so the total number of meters that they're going to install is 2,500 or replace, that is, and they've replaced 658 so far out of that 2,500. A lot of them have been in Los Trincos, but they said they're currently working on Cervantes, and they've also completed the ranch, and except for the school, which they're going to, they have the meter for that and they're going to install it soon. And now they're working in Westridge, Cervantes, and Golden Hills. And as a result of some of the feedback that they received from Lovey, they are training the folks who are installing the meters to have a little bit more information about them, because they're finding that the residents, when they see them out there installing them, that they're engaging them, and so they're trying to give them useful information to pass on. They also sent me the step-by-step guide to how to set up your iOn water account and use your smart water meter to begin looking at the data. They wanted me to communicate to the committee that when the device actually goes into the ground, it starts recording in real time. But they still have to do the paperwork, and so it could take a week to 10 days before the resident can start looking at the data, but it does start recording that data immediately. So let's see, regarding the flume, they're going to be sending out they're going to be engaging folks directly who have the flume, either through email or by phone. They, I guess, had some issues figuring out how to give the $50 rebate without signing up the person as a contractor, but they've sorted that out. And they have also, let's see, ordered retrofit parts a year ago, but they're having some troubles with that. So there's still I know we've gone back and forth a little bit with Flume, and I think some of the miscommunications may have been with their customer service or with the folks on the ground. So hopefully that will be resolved. They still obviously would prefer that folks go with the AMI meter, and they are going to be putting together some talking points about the advantages of that and the benefits of that without disparaging Flume. So what else did I want to communicate? They did want folks to know that they aren't Flume, though. I guess they get a lot of questions on how to use Flume, but if folks have questions, they need to go, obviously, to Flume. So one thing that I wanted to talk to the committee about in this regard, I know that, one of the things that we had been interested in was letting folks know how they could best use their smart water meter. And now that I received that step-by-step guide yesterday, but I've also been working with Carrie, our communications person, to start updating the sustainability website. And there's lots of things that still need to be updated, but I wanted to quickly share with you what we've kind of done initially to make it look a little bit better. Let's see if it will let me share. Oops, am I sharing my whole screen?
Yeah, you were.
You were.
Okay, sorry. I thought I. No, I didn't think. Anyway, let's see. Are you seeing the sustainability page now, or my whole screen still? Oh no, there we go. Okay, so this is a sustainability page, and we've really updated it to focus on some of the main topics there and reorganize it. And then these are widgets down here. We're going to include the business resources, obviously, in this business section as well. But one thing I wanted to ask for help, if someone was willing, was there's with the water efficiency section of the website, which is where I think that we would put the smart water meter information, as well as maybe doing a blurb on the homepage. I wanted to see, and I know you don't have the whole committee there tonight, but there's a lot of pages that are kind of historical pages. We took some of the old data about the drought off of there, but it would be really helpful if someone was willing to go through these pages and check all of the links to make sure that they worked and report back those that didn't. But that's obviously, there might not be someone that has time, but if someone did, that would be super helpful. But on this front page, I updated it to say 5 main ways to conserve water, and then utilize your AMI smart water meter. And this is sort of where I envisioned including the information on how to use your smart water meter. But that was just kind of an initial stab at updating the website and where to include that smart water meter data or information. So if, obviously, if the committee has ideas about how to engage residents in that, I think we may have some money in the budget as well. I just wanted to let you know that I'd kind of started working on that and thinking about where it could go.
By what date did you want that done?
I mean, I don't think it doesn't have to be a specific date. If someone was willing to do it, I kind of went through the pages, and I have a list of which pages we need the links checked on. But I mean, it could be, it doesn't have to be a certain date. I mean, it's been a bit stale for a while, so if we were just making progress on it, I think that would be great. But I guess if we were going to engage people in that section a little bit more sooner rather than later, it might be good.
Well, I can commit to working on at least the AMI meter section, and depend on
Okay.
my time, I can keep working on the rest of the pages.
Also,
for
there's
water
software,
efficiency.
you can unleash on a website that will actually scan through it and produce a report of all the links that are
links,
broken.
Yeah.
So
If you're on WordPress.
I'm happy
yeah.
to do that for you if
Okay.
you want.
And I think that would be awesome, Scott. I think that what we would need too is either some help deciding if we wanted to find the update to the link or remove the link.
Yeah.
But I guess identifying the broken ones initially. And one thing that we're trying to do with this update to the website is to kind of make it a little bit more evergreen, where we don't have as many links on there that we think might expire.
Mhm.
'Cause
Right.
there's just not the bandwidth to keep it, you know, to be checking it a lot. So that would be great if you can do that. That would be lovely.
Yeah, so Rebecca, if you want to work on the smart meter section, I can do this link analysis thing and then start helping with some of the other pieces.
I can do, yeah, I mean, I can commit to the water efficiency section.
Okay,
Let's start with the smart meter. But the question I have is that brochure that you're saying Cal Water has put together. What's their plan to distribute that? What's the,
They are distributing it when they install the meter. They're distributing it when they replace the meter with the AMI smart meter.
as of when, recently? Because Lovey didn't get one. She sent me what they gave her and all she got was a door hanger.
They didn't say exactly when. I can ask them when they started distributing it.
Can we get a copy of it?
Yes,
Or-
I'll send a copy to Scott and to send out to all of you. And then one other thing is, if we can, they have offered to, well, I asked and they offered to work with us and with Carrie on, you know, any communications that we would like to do, the website, if there's anything additional we want to do to help support, you know, the engagement with the smart meter. So Rebecca, you are willing to help with that process, you said?
Mhm.
Okay, I
Yeah.
will. I'll reach out to you individually and see about maybe it's setting up a time with you, me, and Carrie.
Is the brochure in a format that we can put a link to it on the website so that people can?
Yes, it's a PDF.
Yes.
So
Oh, okay.
we can just upload the PDF to the web. Or wait, is it a PowerPoint? I'm sorry. I mean, we can. It's a PowerPoint. It's in a PowerPoint, but we can make it. It's just.
Convert it to a PDF.
Yeah, we'll convert it to. It's a 2-page PowerPoint, so we can convert it to a PDF and
Okay.
upload it to the website. So you can just link. You know, we can put it as images on the website. We can have it downloadable, whatever. So.
we talked about at some point doing maybe a mailer that our committee would put together that would support the rollout, but I guess we don't do that until most of the meters are installed, or?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, you know, if we're at 658 out of 2,500, what is that? That's about, you know, a lot of them are in Los Trincos. I mean, maybe we wait until we get a little further along so that folks, you know, don't think it doesn't apply to them. But I think, you know, my guess is that by the time we had it ready to go, you know,
Yeah.
it,
My feeling is that we should get it out sooner rather than later so that people can expect to have it. It can kind of already be familiar when they get their meter and get ready to go online. Because I think
Okay.
from my impression from speaking with Lovey, she was kind of surprised by the whole process and didn't know what to expect and had trouble with the whole eye on water thing. So I had to walk her through how to interpret the data, how to access the different graphs. I mean, she had gone so far as to ask for the data from Cal Water and they'd send her a file that must have been 10 gigabytes or something full of by the second water use. And she's like, my Excel doesn't even work for this. It's so big. And I'm like, you don't really have to do this. It's all on eye on water. There's nice little graphs that break it down by the day, by the hour, by the minute. So I had to help her with that. So I think she's not going to be the only person that would appreciate having sort of a little bit more help in terms of how to interpret the graphs and where to click and how to bring up the information and how to set particularly your notifications for when you have a potential leak, because that's the key.
So that's material that perhaps is covered in their brochure, but maybe not. And so
I'd have to
I
look
guess
at
we,
and see
once we
what
look at the
they're-
brochure, we can decide whether there's more information we would want to put together to send
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
do-
I'll give oh sorry, I'll give Carrie a heads up that we might want to do a postcard so she can guide us on the timing if there's any others that she's planning to go out. But I mean it might be something that lends itself, to a little separate webinar or something, Rebecca, if you're, a little further on down the road where you could actually show folks how to do that.
Yeah.
Sounds like
you-
the amount of material might be more than a postcard. So perhaps the postcard is something that is a pointer to the website and says, and then we populate the website with the detailed instructions.
Yeah.
Yep, that sounds good.
We
as
do
well.
have one comment or question from the public. So Christy, if assuming your comment or question is related to the smart water meter, that's what we're talking about right now. Go ahead.
Yes, it is. Thank you. I'm just wondering, when these folks come to change it out, it seems like, handing a handout at that time. So if you're creating a PDF that you're going to be posting and you're going to do a postcard, it makes sense that if you're interacting with somebody, that they have the knowledge to hand you the instructions how to use the new meter. It just makes sense to me. If somebody was, at my house, I'd expect that from them.
Well, I think we're gonna have to live with what the company has prepared as the thing that they're giving people when they arrive, and then we're gonna prepare as a committee. We're gonna prepare some additional information and make that available through the website and such. But I don't think we're gonna be able to arm them, the company, with what we prepare. I mean, it's really their brochure that's gonna go with the meters.
Well, Brandy told us just now that Cal Water will be handing a brochure on how to access Ion Water with instructions on how to do it and to understand it. So,
But if 600 is already out and we all have questions, I would like to read it ahead of time. I liked your comment, Rebecca.
Well, we're gonna make the brochure, the current Cal Water brochure available on our website also, and then we're gonna supplement that information with more as needed. So that's the plan.
Great, thank you.
All right. So Brandy, you want to go on to the next topic?
Yes, so I think so. Scott, you and I met and we discussed a little bit about the Green Waste Tour. I'm having a little bit of a trouble figuring out how to not trigger the Brown Act, so I'm still working with that, and we'll, work with Scott to figure out some potential dates for a tour. I realize we're in August now, but hopefully we can get some dates for September and October. The good thing about that is it's a little less fragrant, not in the summer. So, I'm still working on that.
I know, and
Jay,
Anita,
oh,
I
go
think
ahead, Sally.
Anita requested that it not be September because she's out of town, I think, right?
She's out of town. Okay. So chances are, okay, well, I'll make a note of that and we'll see about October dates. But I'm going to work with Scott directly on those dates once I sort out the Brown Act issues. And, we have, I don't know if you've heard, but we are in a bit of transition. We have a new town clerk, we have a new town attorney. So I have to re-engage them and figure out what we can do there, because basically having the whole committee on a tour can trigger the Brown Act, but I think that there's ways to, as long as you don't discuss things, we can get around it. I just need to make sure that
Can
we
we,
do it.
can't it just be a meeting like when the ASCC does site visits? It's a meeting.
Yes, but the problem is that on an ASCC site visit, folks can come, but if their tour is limited to 10 people, you
I see.
can't. You have physical limitations, so it's a little
Not
bit
an-
more.
Not an open public
Right.
meeting.
Yeah,
Is
the
it going to be
constraints.
that limited? I didn't.
Yes, yes, it's that limited because you're basically touring like you're going up and down. You can't see my hand with the background, but metal stairways, narrow metal stairways. There's lots of noise. They give you headsets so that they can talk to you through the headset because you can't actually hear them unless you have the headset. So there are limitations. I also will follow up with Scott on the HEA insert in future green waste millings. They have given us some information on the options there. The other things on our list, the climate action plan, that is on hold right now due to our staffing issues. SB 1383, that I just completed our electronic annual report, which is due to CalRecycle. And I guess the one thing to note is that with a grant that we received from CalRecycle for SB 1383 efforts, we participated in a compost procurement program so that we could help meet the compost procurement target that we are required to meet, but that the compost would go to agricultural facilities where they could most use the compost. We also, for our internal purchasing of compost for the field renovations, we are now purchasing SB 1383 compliant compost. So that's interesting. The green building
Did-
amendments. Okay,
Sorry,
sorry.
real quick question. Did Wheeler, did
Web Branch.
Web Ranch, thank you.
I
Or
haven't
either-
heard anything back from them, but I haven't followed up with them either.
Yeah, and Wheeler Farms is the other one that's right here, Portola
Wheeler
Valley.
Farms. Okay, I'll follow. I'll ping Web Branch. You know, I was in touch with them, and they after I let them know about SB 1383, they told me they were going through the process, but I didn't hear back. But I'll also see about Wheeler Ranch because obviously buying it hyper locally would be better. Let me see.
So how do big cities handle this compost? I mean, is it just for their playing fields? I mean, where are they using all this compost in the middle of Redwood City, for example, or San
You
Francisco?
know, I don't know, Rebecca, and I actually, you know, it's always interesting to see how a bill hits the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Impact.
actually I was speaking with someone in my network in San Mateo County because we have monthly meetings about these issues, and I actually asked if we could have like a round table on SB 1383 to see how other jurisdictions were dealing with this, because the amount of compost that we're supposed to procure is, you know, exponentially more than we normally procure, and so it's almost impossible to meet the target. That said, there are opportunities to use the MWELO to meet that target. What I've learned is that most of the compost or most of the big projects use significant amounts of compost. So if you could get them to purchase SB 1383 compliant compost on the town's behalf, then you could start making headway towards meeting that that target. But
What do you mean big, like what big users you're saying? Like
Well, like
the
when you do-
schools?
no, for development projects. So when you do it, like if you say a new home is being developed, oftentimes they're moving earth, and then they need it for their new landscaping or they're replacing it, and so they might use 20-40 cubic yards, and so that starts getting at the target. I think our target is 365 tons a year, but so I don't. To answer your question, the short answer to your question is I don't know. I'm guessing that most of the municipalities are not coming close to meeting their target, but we're just trying to show that we're, you know, participating in this regional effort, trying to purchase, you know, be compliant with our own purchasing.
So where would a resident obtain SB 1383 compliant compost?
So right now I know of that Linkso has it, and also Green Waste has, I think, about 6 different SB 1383 compliant compost. That's one of the other parts of the website that I'm going to be working on is updating the what did we call it? I think the waste reduction site, because we are required to have SB 1383 information on there. Waste reduction and recycling, that's the section. So I've built a page, you know, for all the resources that I need to comply with it, but I'll be building out a public facing page, so that
So-
all that information is there.
So in the process of, since we're in the process right now of updating our general plan, and we're only allowed to update our general plan, I believe, 4 times a year. The question is, should we also be adding something along the lines, if you're involved in a major landscaping project on a property, that you're required to use SB 1383 compliant compost? I mean, is that something that's totally unreasonable, or?
It's not, but it's not. I'm not sure what it's not unreasonable. But you have to, like the way that Cal Recycle has worded it, they've only indicated that you can use the MWELO to do that. They haven't said that you can just, that you could put it in your general plan. And they actually, I'm still sorting out, like internally, Cal Recycle doesn't necessarily know what their own rules are. And so I've asked them to, I've tried to figure out what proof we need as a town to show that a development project has purchased SB 1383 compost. And so it's not a simple endeavor. So it's not just
Yeah.
that you could say you have to use this. We actually as a town would have to have that development project. I forget what
Well,
agreement they said, but you have to have the proof.
So could we somehow, at least as a committee, send out some piece of information to the town saying, or to the residents saying, if you are engaging in a large landscaping project and you're going to need compost, please use these vendors and help the town meet its goals by submitting your receipt to the town for tracking purposes, or, you know, just to, who knows if anybody will do it, but, and if Laura's willing, it could be part of the information that's handed to people who are doing landscaping projects with a little blurb saying, you know, we hope you use the, you know, 1383 compliant compost. Here's the sources, and here's, please submit the, you know, the receipts to us. You know, at least, you know, maybe it would start the process, even though we don't have right yet a procedure in place for it.
I agree. It would be great to start it out that way, where it was very much voluntary. I just need to figure out, I need to confirm with Cal Recycle what they need, what documentation they need where they would actually count it. And so
Okay.
I will make further progress. I will ask again. What documentation? Okay.
And kind of along that same lines in terms of waste, I know he had spoken briefly about the whole idea of construction waste with green waste,
Yes, and
and how to go about tracking that, you know, and if there's a way to do it when you're not involved in the development project, but you have a small, you know, repair or something. And because green waste doesn't allow you to put construction waste into your normal garbage anymore, which I think is a little unfair. So that means you're kind of forced to go somewhere. And so how do you log that without creating an account on that waste thing?
And so, I mean, 2 questions. So one question I had, and I did do research on this. I just got subsumed by other things. But I mean, there is well, let me rephrase it. Is it that the neighborhood cleanups aren't frequent enough, or that you would actually have to take it there, because those items are,
Yes. Then they limit what you're allowed at the neighborhood.
Hello? Hello, excuse me, somebody's unmuted, calling in and
Can
making
you
a bunch.
mute them?
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I guess they're now muted. I don't know what that was, but okay.
Where was I? Oh, so the neighborhood cleanups are great, but they limit now what you're allowed to bring from a construction standpoint. So you're allowed 1 30-gallon container of general construction waste, 1 30-gallon container of asphalt type waste, asphalt slash, I think concrete, and then your somewhat unlimited amounts of untreated, non-pressure treated wood. As long as it's easy to pull off your truck or whatever. So
I guess I'm confused. I mean, I mean, I think, you know, we understand why they don't want you to put a bunch in your own bins because it could get prohibitively heavy and etc. But what I think I might be missing, are you saying that,
but we're not allowed to put it in our normal garbage. But so I can tell you, I have a bunch of sheet of drywall that I had to pull off part of my wall because of mold. And, you know, I don't generate very much garbage at all. So I have my little 20-gallon thing that's only half full every week. And I would love to start sticking pieces of drywall in there, but they don't take it. So now I have to like figure out where the heck I'm going to take this.
I think they do. I put drywall into the trash and it goes away. So
I don't, I'm gonna have no comment on any of that. I guess I just want to ask, I'm Rebecca, I'm sorry, I don't think I understand. I'm not understanding what the question is. Like, are you looking for the resource of where to take it if you have a small amount?
Well, there's
Or
that,
how-
but I also would like to be able to use my full 20-gallon of garbage for garbage.
Oh, okay.
you know,
That,
type of-
yeah, okay, that's if you, okay, I understand what you're saying. That is something that you will have to bring up in 2028 or 2029, I think, if I'm getting the dates right. So it's, I mean, all of that with the specifics of what's taken in the garbage is part of the garbage franchise agreement. So
Yeah, I wasn't
Um,
even aware that that had changed personally when you renegotiated that thing, but somehow it did. But
yeah, I
Anyways.
don't, I would have to go back and look at the original franchise agreement to see if it changed. I mean, you know, I spent so much time in both of those documents, but I can, so if I can definitely point you to places where you can take it, but I can't, you know, officially tell you, or, you know, we can't ask Greenways to change that, and I can't officially tell you to put it in there.
So I guess the question is, I know that the town has that tracking thing for waste, for construction waste. How can we access the information that's contained in there about where the stuff should go without really having to
Oh.
create an account and track your
Okay.
garbage kind of thing?
Okay, now I get the question, and I think maybe you said that. Okay, I will. How can you get access? That's a good question. I will look into that. I have a login to the program, and I will look into that. Short of, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's a way to like download the list. I don't think we could make it like the dynamic list accessible, but maybe we can make a static list accessible. There's also
Yeah.
some really good tools for finding places that do recycle
Mhm.
those materials. So, I mean, maybe when I update the waste and reduction site, waste reduction and recycling site, I can put a link to those.
That would be great. Yeah.
Oh, and at those, I think I sent you a couple of those. So I think I sent you one that's locally, but then there's also one I think it was either Alameda or Santa Clara County that was really good too. But
Okay.
okay, thank you. I don't.
Thanks.
There's no update on the disposable foodware, and I know you guys are trying to end by 9. So if anyone has any questions for me, let me know. Otherwise, I'll let you continue your meeting.
looks like we have one question from Christy. Go ahead, Christy.
Yeah, I'm noticing there is a frequently asked questions about implementing SB 1383 with Cal Recycle. That might be good to be putting on our website as well. It's a long question answers.
Yes, I understood. I think that that's probably more from the government side, but yeah, but certainly I will look into that.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on. We're going to go to the public service announcements. I guess we had one from Rebecca. You actually had two, right? You had one on the tax, available tax credits and such, and then you also had the one in the last day, right?
Oh, about Ohm Connect.
Ohm
but I
Connect,
didn't really
yeah.
go through the sustainability.
So anyway, the
committee, but-
two recent ones, and I guess the next one up is Leslie's.
Yeah.
And how's it going?
Oh, I've done NSF and.
Oh, gosh, okay, yeah, okay, all right, sure.
Sorry about
No, it's okay. So yeah, maybe in maybe a month from now, you think, or? Okay.
Scott, could Leslie speak into the microphone? We can't hear her. on
Oh,
the Zoom.
sure. Yeah. Short summary, I've had a lot of deadlines and, yeah, pretty busy right now. But I was gonna say maybe 2 weeks, but I like your month much better.
Well, if you're going to Iceland, when do you get back from Iceland?
Yeah, probably, probably around the 28th. Yeah.
So why don't we imagine it's 3 weeks out, 3 or 4 weeks out, and then I guess the question would be, is there any other topic that somebody would like to slot in the interim? We could just take a pause and wait for Leslie's, or we could try to fit something else in the mix.
And mine again is fairly pithy summary of what we're doing. So we'll have some new photos from Iceland presumably, and what Armand does.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And probably mention Stephen Salter from across the pond. who works
Sure.
on another
That's
aspect of
great.
that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other topics people have been on people's
I think
minds?
Loverine had said she was trying to work on something about the experience of the smart water meter,
Okay.
or, yeah,
Okay, well,
what to
let's,
expect. you know.
that might take a little while too, but, okay. Are you going to be speaking to her soon?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you ask her if she would want to try to put something together in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, depending on her health.
Right.
2
So
weeks
if
might be a little.
if that
pushy.
doesn't make sense, then it sounds like maybe we'll wait till we have about a month from now, we'll have Leslie's, and then but we could follow that with a smart meter experience, PSA, which sounds good. So yeah, if you could talk to Lovey about it, that would be great. Okay, any other things related to the,
Did I miss your sustainability tour? Or there were going to be new houses or something?
the tour? No, the tour is still going to happen. It's Peninsula Clean Energy putting it together. I conferred with Jeff Alfs about our participation. There was some thought that, 1 or 2 homes, Jay's home, and then there was the person who runs the hardware store. I guess somebody reached out to him to see about that and didn't hear back, I believe. Is that right?
Oh, was I supposed to do that?
No, I think that was, I think Anita did that. But I think anyway, she reached out, didn't get a response. And then I think, Jay, you decided that given the parameters of the visit, it didn't really make sense for you. So, but in any case, there's still a plan for October to have that tour. It may or may not include a home in Portola Valley, but it will be homes in, Belmont, San Mateo, Palo Alto, whatever. So, yeah. So once we know the specifics, we'll be certainly letting everybody here know, but we'll also be announcing that on PV Forum. Okay, anything else related to public service announcements?
I guess There's this San Mateo Youth Climate Ambassadors Program that I've been waiting for them to put out their call, which I think is supposed to be this month, and then just to advertise it.
Great.
But it seems like it's not ready yet as far as I
Okay.
can tell.
But once it comes out, you'll just do that, right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay, good. The next topic is the library loaner program. We decided at a prior meeting that the highest priority item was the Lomi composter as the next item. And that following that, we might look at an e-bike as a loaner item. I think I told, or I and Anita mentioned to the committee some of the concerns that Garrett expressed about, you know, the program can't become too large because they really need to be careful that one library, particularly one library in a wealthy community, not appear to be overly endowed with gadgets and gizmos and things if other libraries don't have, you know, similar resources. So he's still thinking, he hasn't given us feedback yet on what he thinks the reasonable number of items is that they could have in an inventory of loaners related to our committee's work. But he thought the Lomi for sure, we could do that. I did confer with Brandy about the budget. Yes.
So last time we voted on at least this, I guess that we felt that it should be open to anyone.
I'll get to
Oh,
that.
I'm
Get
sorry.
to that. No, it's okay. I'll get to that in a second. So yeah, so the Lomi, yes, we have the budget for it. The e-bike, perhaps, but it depends because there's, you know, significant money involved potentially, right? It could be a $1,500 e-bike. It could be a $4,000 e-bike. There's a whole range. The e-bike though has a question. So there's a whole set of related topics related to the loaner program where Brandy, it is going to be important to talk to the town attorney to get a reading on it. And because there isn't I guess still probably isn't a permanent hire attorney, we're going to defer some of those things because, you know, trying to get an answer, a clear answer on a question of risk related to, you know, town risk is going to be really tough until there's somebody who's got the charter and is on board and stuff such. So your question, what was which piece?
Well, I guess there's the concern last time about equity across libraries.
Yes. Okay. So whether we could open the program up and not have it restricted to Portola Valley residents is it's possible that could, you know, maybe, you know, I've registered the fact that our committee would like to do that. Brandy thinks it's also something that they'd want to run by the town attorney and the town manager to see if there's any, you know, issues involved in that, you know, like tax revenues from Portola Valley being used for some other locality. Basically, somebody else is borrowing it who's not a resident. You know, just that's an imagined problem, which may not be a problem at all, but that there ought to be somebody who sort of thinks it through briefly and says, yeah, that sounds fine, right? And until that person is on board with a charter to answer such questions, it's going to be impossible to really, you know, resolve that.
I mean, we have an interim town attorney, right? Can't the question go to?
Well, I think Brandy has concerns about, you know, trying to drop risk questions into the interim person.
And I think
Brandy,
there's a budget issue as
let you
well.
express that. Well, I think a budget issue for
Town attorney time.
there could be, but anyway, Brandy, do you want to add anything to what I said?
I mean, I think that, I guess everything you've said is what I've said. I think that there are probably two issues. I think, you know, if you want to discuss just loaning the things out to a wider audience, that's one issue. Having an electric bike is probably like a level up from that because the risk is much greater. And I think to add to what you were saying, Scott, I think it's also perhaps unfair to ask an interim town attorney to maybe go out on a limb a little bit with these things. But if the committee so chooses, I can ask, the assistant town manager if that's something that we can pursue, given the budget constraints that Rebecca has mentioned as well. I thought you might have a better chance if, once we have a permanent town attorney and town manager.
So that was the idea, was just on these questions involving risk, where it might just go into a black hole, or somebody might be more risk averse than what we would hope for. And Yeah.
I don't know. I think we may have be like overblowing it a little bit.
I was just relying on Brandy's
Yeah.
advice as
Well,
to
it
what's going
sounds
to
like
make
she's
this work.
asking the committee as well. At least I would say that we shouldn't hesitate to ask the interim town attorney.
Okay, so
Because also, I mean, I don't think we're gonna have a permanent one for maybe 6 months or a year.
okay, the only downside, like the e-bike, if we
Right.
ask and this person, because they're on an interim basis, is not willing to go out on a limb and is more risk averse than
Why is it? So the library already lends out a bike, but the concern is that an
this
e-bike.
would be a bike that would be purchased by the town. So the town would be on the hook for liability, not just the library.
Okay.
So we can try it, but if somebody says no, then it's sort of, there's a precedent, and it's going to be tough to change that. So
To me, though, I mean, it could be the interim town attorney and the next town attorney. Anyone could say no, right?
that's true. Okay, so how do others feel? Should we just move forward with these questions that we have for the town attorney, or wait until the real person is on board?
Well, could we ask the town attorney if these are questions that, or ask the town manager, actually, if
Yeah.
we have the budget to ask the town attorney if these are questions that
You mean the interim town manager?
the interim town manager, if these are questions that could be
So why
looked at, or if we should defer them until,
Why don't we just ask Brandy to engage the manager, current town manager, or attorney, to see whether these are questions that they would be comfortable resolving with us now. Is that?
Will
Okay.
do. I'll put it on my list and I'll start with the assistant town manager and I'll ask in my next meeting, which should be Tuesday. So then I'll report back.
So I think I have a list of all the things that were in this category. One was the e-bike and any risks associated with that. The other was changing the ground rules for the loaning. Another one, oh, maybe that was it. I guess those were the two. Yeah. Okay. Anything else related to the loaner program? So I think the idea was that when Anita returns from her vacation, we'll buy the Lomi composter. She wants to be the person to work up a little manual that goes with it. And so she just didn't have the time to do that before her trip, but she will work on that when she gets back. So probably it took a couple months, frankly, once we said we're ready for the library to have the IT infrastructure piece and all that stuff done. And I guess, that reminds me, I still need to do a draft of the waiver. And we were going to look at the waiver, Brandy, and decide whether it's so similar that to the other items that we can just go with it or not. So I'll do that. Okay, we have a question or comment from Christy. Would you go?
I just wanted to encourage the legal person to contact Truckee. Between the 4th of July and now, they have blocks of bikes all over Truckee now. And I've seen them used lots, and maybe they've figured out the legalese with doing this. So it might be a good place to start.
Okay, thanks for that suggestion. All right. Let's see. That's it for the library loaner program. The next up is the plans to develop the resource list, the grand resource list of people willing to help neighbors with various technologies, technical questions, showing them their heat pump, et cetera, et cetera. The number of responses to the PV forum posting was, can you guess? It was 0. Well, I know. Okay. It actually was 2. It was Jay and Ronnie. But otherwise it was 0. So I don't know what we should do. I mean,
Not a lot of traction.
there's no traction. So I guess we all are involved in various technologies and we could become, people that are called upon, but we're already available. And
Well, we could still develop a resource list of devices and suppliers and whatnot
yeah,
for these various things.
I
I've
guess
been
so.
collecting a list of like passive house certified window companies, for example, because that question of how to replace or looking for window companies to replace windows seems to be a frequent question actually on the PV forum, people looking for referrals. So, and it's not on people's radar, particularly the idea of the passive house certified window, which makes an enormous difference on the insulative qualities of the, I don't even know if that's a real word, but the insulative qualities of a window. So maybe just having a list of a bunch of vendors that supply those types of windows would be helpful. And the same
Sure.
with all these other things as well. The heat pump, water heaters, and
but in terms of the individual, the PV resident that one can contact, I mean, are we up for being those people? We are the only ones.
We could have
think
a
it's just-
trial. I mean, if
Sure.
there may not be that much.
There may
Yeah,
not
it's
be
a small
as
number.
ma- Yeah.
Yeah.
No volunteers to be the experts and no requests for experts. A perfect match.
Right,
Or
and
2 or 3 of that and 2 or 3 of that. So yeah, okay. Well, so what is the next step on that? Is it to make a form on the website and then let people know on PV forum that we have a list of experts? We won't tell them it's just us, but and these topics are ones that we would be happy to provide guidance on. Is
You
that
Make it fun. Like if somebody up in Los Trancos Woods who's dealt with this or that problem is proud of what they've learned and says, I'd love to sign up and,
that was
my
the
pri-
whole idea.
But my prize is, you gotta make it fun, right? You give them bragging rights or a bag of candy, or who knows what, but maybe if we made it a little bit fun, they'd get into it. Sorry.
well, I think there's some people that are very much evangelists for technology. So
I'm surprised there were none of those who came forward and said, I'd do that.
well, I think it needs
Well,
to have
putting it
more
out
than one
again.
message. I think
Put
we
it
need
out
to
again.
Send out more messages.
Yeah, okay. Well, and maybe there could be a note saying, okay, so nobody signed up for this. Is that really? Is that
No, no, no.
really?
Anybody who
say,
wants
like,
to show off their
Fan has
knowledge.
been extreme, like this is your last chance.
Nobody
to
put a
get-
solar panel on their house and wants to talk about the experience.
Oh, John Stolper.
Well, that's the other thing. We probably know many people in town who have, are candidates and maybe we, instead of a PV forum thing, we need to go finger a few people and just say, hey, did you do this?
I'm finding surprising lack of response to some TV forums folks have put out, where in the past there were, and I don't know if it's that we're all just so much more busy now, or, everybody's doing the digest, so they don't see that, but I think we're all overwhelmed with that kind of email. Don't stop though, Rebecca. That's what we need it, we need it, right? So,
I think
Uh,
people are busy.
You think so?
People are busy, I think, especially with school starting and people probably were out of town when that went out. So
Mhm,
maybe consider putting out another note
mhm.
in the next couple weeks and somehow
Okay.
make it much shorter. Maybe not list every technology. Don't list any technology, just say, sustainability
Okay, well,
technologies.
I will, I'll
Give
just
a couple examples. Like,
pull.
do you have a solar panel installation that, are you an expert on EV cars, Because I know when I was considering an EV car back 10 years ago and I sent a note, I mean, I had tons of people sending me books of information about their experience.
Mhm.
So there's some real people really into it.
Yeah.
so.
Could we have a PV Woodside competition? So who can have the most justice? So that kind of.
I don't know.
Maybe the list was too daunting. Maybe, it was a huge list of things and,
I don't think you need a list. I don't think a message more than 2 paragraphs gets through to people.
okay, that's a good. Try to reframe the message. Okay. There is a hand raise. It's Brandy. You're muted, Brandy.
Leslie, just a reminder to talk into your microphone, but also I was gonna just say you could make the form and see what questions people have, and then you could always like get the experts once you know what questions people have too. You could go back to the forum and say, hey, we're looking for an expert on this or that, and use the announcement of the forum as a way to engage more experts.
It's a good idea.
Just an idea. Oh, me over here creating work for my coworkers. So
Yeah. Okay.
I almost
The-
feel that people do that already, when they query the PV forum, asking for advice on something.
Yeah.
So
Next is the possible committee focus on regulations related to cool roofs and walls. And so 2 things about this. I did talk, Brandy and I spoke about it. One is, if we're going to add something to our list that would potentially involve staff time, we need to go back to our list of priorities and decide, does this displace something else? For example, we have Wheelo on the list of priorities, and it's not clear to me that we're going to be able to advance that based on just the level of, backing among our committee members to do something with that. So are we going to add cool roofs? I mean, what does that mean? How will that work? So that's a question. The other one was also, I think, related to, well, I guess you were going to do some more background sort of study on that, Brandy. Did you want to speak to anything you've discovered?
I have not had a chance when I was in the office to speak with Carol, but I'm actually meeting with her on a different item tomorrow. So I will ask. What I was telling Scott was that several years ago, when my job was more entirely focused on sustainability, I brought up this topic with Carol in the planning department, and the town, as I'm sure you know, has design guidelines, and there's a certain reflectivity that a roof has to meet so that it doesn't blind, residents that are across the hill. But there were several materials, and at that time, she had samples of them that met the cool roof standards, but still also met the reflectivity parameters for the design guidelines. And so I was going to revisit that with Carol and just ask her if if that was still the case, if she still had those samples. And so I think, I can't remember if you and I discussed this or not, Scott, but a place to start might just be getting updated samples that are within the parameters of the design guidelines and encouraging folks to use those. If you're going to I guess it will take considerable more effort to change the design guidelines to allow more reflective roofs, I guess. So I will open the conversation with Carol when I meet with her about another topic tomorrow, and then report back to Scott.
And I brought it briefly up to Laura at the end of an ASCC meeting, and she said that if we were considering something that involved like the design guideline changes, that we would actually have to go first to town council to get their essential approval to study it. And then they would then provide budget or whatever back to the planning department to study it. And then it would come back, whatever, whether it was made sense or not. So it's quite an involved process to change the code and whatever and the design guidelines. So it's probably not something that would happen in the next year because we're already doing so many changes to the zoning codes and stuff. So
I think one idea we talked about was also for us to just educate ourselves about cool roof technology. And I mean, a question for me would be, I mean, are there any cool roof technologies that you can actually buy today which don't meet the design guidelines? So if we had a bunch of examples of that where, the reflectivity is too high, but these are amazing with regard to their coolness, then that's important information. I mean, if the ones that are commonly used and that you can purchase are ones that meet the current guidelines, then it's like, well, there's no big issue right now. There might be someday, but there isn't right now. So I think, and you were so what you're doing, Brandy, is is it written down somewhere clearly what the reflectivity number is? It must be.
Yeah, I mean, it must be. I'll take a quick look while we're
40.
on here. It also occurs to me that it might be worth looking at the current building code, because it could be that the building code might already have requirements that address this. But I'll take a quick look at the town's design guidelines first while we're on the meeting.
I think it's like 40%.
40% reflectivity. So armed with that, we could all be sort of out there looking at things that are, either commercially available or in research and see whether there are any that are amazing that, the town currently wouldn't accept. And then that becomes something to talk about. But if there isn't anything out there that really goes against the guidelines, then it seems like it's not a non-issue. I don't think we know that. Is that true? We don't know that?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We need to know more about what products are out there that would work really well and whether they meet the design guidelines or not.
There's not a lot. And just looking at walls like stucco colors, I looked at this back 20 years ago when I was building my pool house, and I had to go through the companies with the coloring to actually get them to send me the light reflectivity values for the colors. And it was a big pain.
Mm.
And out of the list of 100 different colors, maybe 5 met the guidelines, and they're all dark.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
when you live on a hill and you're blasted by the sun, you don't want a dark house, a dark stucco house.
Right.
So,
Okay. So more data gathering for a while. Okay, last topic, the picnic. The picnic takes place on the 23rd September. And shortly after this meeting, we need to let Patty know if we want a table. So are we in? And if we're in, I guess, since this is our August meeting, we're going to have to
choose a topic.
think fast about, what's going to be at the table and all the rest. I guess we could work some of that offline, as long as it doesn't involve 4 or more of us.
And we have one more meeting, right? Right before the
Yeah, but it's like
2 days before.
2 days
yeah.
beforehand. So, so how do people feel about having a table at the town picnic?
Sounds like a good idea, but what do we want to have as a result of our consciousness raising among our
Well, before we get to that, do we have actually staffing for the table?
I wasn't there too much last year, but I thought you guys said that you didn't feel it was worthwhile.
Well,
Something, maybe I'm mischaracterizing it.
no, we had 18 people come by. But there were hundreds of people there.
Yeah,
so-
I thought, I felt it, was at that. I mean, you might feel that you need to just have a table because sustainability is an important topic and you just want a presence. But in terms of actual engagement, educating people, having good conversations, it didn't happen. And so I thought the effort was not worth it from that standpoint. The prior year, it felt better, but and I don't know other people, but we really put more into it. We had a raffle where we were going to give away a prize, and to be eligible for the raffle, you had to fill out a little card with at least one thing you were going to do towards sustainability and bring it to the table and give it to us. And so it forced us to go out into the crowd. We were out working the crowd to give out these cards and say, come to the table. And so that got us maybe what, 50 people instead of 18. I don't know.
When you said 18, you weren't thinking of the wildfire fair, that was the company.
I remember, I think it was either last year or the year before, and everybody who came up to me was either already 100% engaged in the topic, and
Preaching to the
or
choir.
there were other people who were coming and lecturing me
Mhm.
on stuff.
Mhm.
Well, this is how solar really works, and this is, and people who
Light
were,
EV.
yeah, or that kind of thing. But definitely people who were already totally on board, or to some degree not on board, or just want to come have a great conversation, which is nice. But I don't think I helped anybody.
And then the
we-
other issue was that, and that would definitely, if we do it, has to be corrected with Patty, is that she's got to split up the kid booths. She's got to mix them throughout the fair, because otherwise what happened is all the families were just stuck over there with the Cub Scouts and the toy, the games, and they never came over to the other side. So if the kids stuff was mixed, the petting zoo and the throw stuff was
rabbit.
all mixed around, at least the families, the kid could go pet the rabbit while the parent were kind of getting sucked into recycling. I don't know, but
Yeah,
so
that sounds like good advice to her, whether or not we have a table.
to me, it'd be like better idea to have a table at the next music fair.
That was very good.
I mean, it was packed there today, so that would get a lot more, maybe, visibility. I don't know if anybody would stop by either, but I don't know. I feel like we should have some type of presence, but unless we make it super simple, it's a lot of work.
We could have a lecture series. I mean, that's a separate thing, not at the picnic, but that's always on the table.
Yeah. You want to move to the-
I'm sorry, yeah. We could have a lecture series with people who remember to speak into the mic and.
Well,
know,
it's on our list of priorities,
is,
right?
yeah,
To do a
it's-
lecture / movie series. So, yeah. But, yeah.
Brand, did you have, oh, no, you didn't. I thought Brandy had her.
I
hand up.
did. I was just gonna say, if you do decide to do something, I do have a bunch of like kind of I swag that you could give away, and the next time I'm in the office, I'll take a picture of it and send it to you and Rebecca. But I have like a lot of things when I used to do more events. Like I have a lot of stuff that some of it is probably still useful and relevant.
But
That's all I was
my
gonna say.
feeling after the fact with the raffle thing, it was just way too much work.
Yeah.
I mean, just tracking down people was just a pain in the rear. So,
I mean, you
I-
could
Yeah.
just give it away too. I mean, if people saw you were giving away stuff, maybe they would come over and you wouldn't have the
oh,
effort.
we did give away stuff. gave
We did
away the
last year. We
little,
gave-
smart plugs.
We gave away stuff last year.
Oh, is it the wildfire? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm confusing it. Yeah. And how many people came to that thing? Stop by our booth.
I think we had Onion Rose? I forget.
Yeah.
That one was good. That one was
Yeah,
pretty good.
well, I think that one, the topic drew a big crowd and the crowd was oriented toward going to tables and learning stuff and seeing gadgets and
And it was like-
gizmos.
You know, in the room where you kind of walk
Yeah.
around and see all the booths.
Yeah.
Not, no like trophy houses.
Yeah.
No competing.
Those Boy Scouts with their games. and-
Yeah.
So does
Cub
anybody
Scouts.
feel strongly that they would want to take the lead? Let's put it that way. Is anybody going to sign up to take the lead in getting us organized for the picnic?
Nope,
That would be
not
no.
me.
I don't think so. All right, so I think we're saying this year it's a no.
Meanwhile, the
And-
planet is burning.
There's a big outcry, you know.
If there's an outcry that we weren't
We're
there,
not there, yeah,
Uh-huh.
we'll get on it for next year right
Yeah.
away.
yeah, we will. Backed by popular demand.
That's what we should send a note saying, due to lack of any concern for our planet and making it habitable in the next 10 years.
Not guilty as charged. We're busy trying to do something about that.
Okay, so that was the last topic on the agenda. Do we have any things for next time that aren't sort of already evident in what we've just talked about, continuations? Are there new topics for next time?
How do we get people to care more?
Yeah.
Because this has been a recurring theme of this evening, right? Lack of engagement. People, I know it's been summer, but it's definitely a thing. And I think it's a big thing in a town like this where people are very self-sufficient and very in command of their lives and making whatever decisions they want. I think engagement seems to be very difficult.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So I would love to discuss how to get people to care.
What would you like to see them actually do? Change their lifestyle, you mean?
Yeah, well, that's a loaded question. Well, it's got a loaded answer. I mean, you know, I say this all the time, you know, you can care all you want, but if you have an 8,000 square foot house, then it doesn't work. You know, we've talked about the carbon footprint of people who have X amount of income versus people who have X over 100 amount of income. And, but I'd like to see them do all the things that we're talking about, you know?
yeah.
I'd like to see people reply to your email. I'd like to see more EVs. I'd like to see more plant-based eating. I said it, the third rail, you know, like that new restaurant on Alpine
Jalisco,
has 0 plant-based options. Unless you want to just order some lettuce, which is the typical.
no
you know,
vegetarian
No,
option? They don't
not-
even have a rice and bean
not reasonable
burrito?
ones. Not vegan.
Rice and bean burrito?
This is per other people who've been there.
Oh.
Who told me this. But anyway, love to see engagement on all these fronts.
Well, I think it'd be great to, yeah, I mean, to talk about it.
True.
Let's do that next time. Because it's pretty disappointing. I mean, it's sort of like,
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty urgent. I mean,
Yeah.
people are so concerned about wildfire and why do they think wildfires are becoming so extreme? I mean,
That is the tremendous disconnect of the human condition, right? We're not trained to, yes, I'm afraid of fire, but if the fire's not in front of me, then I don't have that connection. You know, we're trained to be afraid of lions, you know, and if it's not in front of us, then we don't care.
Do we have a budget for speakers? If we could get Catherine Hayhoe in, she studies why people ignore all of this and,
mhm.
just the
know-
psychological roots of it.
You know, we need to get to come in and speak to this sounds like Joe Montana. You know what I mean? You need like some celebrity, you know, people in this town. So I don't know the name of who you just brought up. And I would bet you,
Gotten awards for
I'm
being
su-
able to reach
I'm
across
sure,
the aisle.
but
on
I
it.
bet you if you put on the forum, who wants to come see some, yeah, and it's gonna be you, Ronnie, and me, you know.
Me?
Yeah, okay. But you know what I mean? I mean, I think you have to go a different direction. you have to circuitously kind of get people's attention in a way that we all might think is a failure, because everyone here would want to say, I am presenting you with facts. Please act on them accordingly. That's not the way it works, you know?
Not
Guerrilla
impossible, though.
marketing campaign.
Exactly. You know,
Did you say Robert Downey Jr.? That's who I'm thinking. You know, you get some famous guy who cares a lot about climate. Yeah, why not?
Well, I'm not saying
People
that's,
know people
that's-
around
yeah,
here.
but something different, because I think presenting people with information, opportunities, facts is doesn't yield the results that I think we'd all love to see.
Yeah. All right, we will have that as a topic for next time. Maybe that could be the bulk of the meeting. I mean, really, it's such an important one.
Yeah, that's the-
All right, is there a move to adjourn?
I so move.
All those in favor of adjourning?
I.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, Brandy.
Good night.
Good night.
Night. Thanks for surfacing such an important question.